Hi, Joe here at Woolly Cottage. It's Thursday afternoon, or it's Thursday morning. I know it's been a bit of a long week and I've not posted any videos. I did explain at the weekend what that was to do with it. It was lack of phone and getting onto the internet and all the rest of what a rigmarole that was. So finally sorted, should be back to normal. When you've not been filming for a while though, you sort of fall out of sync about what you like and your energy and all the rest of it. So I wasn't quite with it on Saturday from my live chat, but I'm back to fighting fit again. So today I'm doing a video. I've been asked to do a video about a diz and using a diz. So I've pulled out my blending board and I've pulled out some fibres I had left over from doing my Batty Club the other day, which I will be putting that video on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow. So I've got these and this diz here. Now this is a handcrafted curved diz and it's brilliant because it literally just sits in the palm of my hand. My thumb can scoop it and it's really comfy to sit in, and I've got a little tiny hand anyway. If you do buy one or order one in, then you'll see in comparison to yourself to the size of my hand how tiny my hands are. So this item, I did say to the gent that I would let you know and drop a link down to his website, or you can tag him on Facebook. You'll see him on all the UK fibre crafting pages anyway. But this is from a gentleman called Les Smith. Now he makes loads of gorgeous handmade crafted items and tools for weaving, anything from small shuttles for inkle looms. He makes gorgeous wooden brooches. I think he even does custom order for sheep brooches, wooden ones, and then through the middle of it you put your pin for your shawl. Or scarves or whatever it is that you want to use them for. They're absolutely gorgeous and really delightful, and he uses a variety of different types of wood, some unusual ones as well as the trusty old birch woods and elm woods, ash woods, cherry wood, and he gets some really unique woods in as well. I can't think off the top of my head, but I'll drop the link in anyway to his website, and then if you see anything on there that you want, just reach out to him. His email address is on there, or you can reach out to him on Facebook as well on his own page. But yeah, so this only cost me £7, which I thought was a bit of a bargain considering how lovely it's made. I mean, there's a slight point there, but I mean, that's no problem. But it's lovely and soft. It's really tactile. You want to mess around with it all the time. So that's what I'm doing today. And I've pulled out my trusty old blending board. Now, it's not an Ashford's or anything like that. It is just a piece of blending card, a cloth that I got from Wing & Wool. I think it cost me about 48 quid just for this piece, and it's on a IKEA chopping board. So between the actual cloth itself, the chopping board was a tenner, the cloth 49 pounds. It cost me under 60 quid, a couple of hammers, a couple of nails, tacking nails, carpet tacks, and some staples in there. And this trusty little bit of kit is actually what got me started selling online. I made all my Rolex on these, and I made mini bats and put them in set kits, and that's what I started off on before I could save up to get my drum carder. So there you go. So I've had this for about 4 years now, and I definitely don't use it as much. Personally, I don't like spinning Rolex. I just find that they get really twisted up a lot inside, but there are techniques to doing it where you can spin it without it getting all knotted and tangled or trying to pull all the center out with it. You just have to remember when you're blending the board and then you start to turn up your fibres, if you were to look at it from the upside point of view, you're actually winding the wool up in an anti-clockwise direction. So when you're spinning those fibres, I always say, well, try and figure out which direction that your Rolex going in and spin it out in the opposite, draft it out in the opposite direction, and it should come out really smoothly. On a sec, I have got one in my bag here if I haven't thrown it out. Right. Oh, this is one I did absolutely ages and ages ago. So if you just look at the top, now can you see that swirl of blended fibres that's going round and round and round? Right, so that is going in an anti-clockwise direction. So if I was to grab the centre out of that, I would twist this in a clockwise direction so the fibres would loosen up. Do you understand what I'm saying? See how easily that's coming out drafting? If I was to keep spinning it or turning it around in the direction that I've rolled the roll lag up in an anti-clockwise direction, it's just going to get clumpy, you see. But if I spin that back round in a clockwise direction, the fibres will loosen up and then I can draft it out again. See how simple that is? Sometimes it's the things you just don't think about. So when you get your roll lags, have a quick look at the ends of them to see what direction the roving's gone in, and it will generally be an anti-clockwise direction. And then just draft it out when you need to twist it, and then just draft it and then turn it in a clockwise direction, and that'll help your fibres loosen up as you're pulling it out. I mean, roll lags and punies are really, really good if you've got punies, which are the tiny skinny ones, are usually about 10 grams in weight. Then you've got your faux lags or roll lags, and they're generally can be anything from 25 to maybe 15 to 25 grams in weight from your blending board, because on one of these you can generally get about 4 roll lags off of them. And then you've got your log roll lags, so they can be a chunkier version, which is probably about half of that's come off there, so anything about 35 to 40 grams in weight. This blending board, I generally think I could get 4 roll lags off of that, and depending on the fibres that I'm using, because as you probably know, when you're using a wool that's coarser like a Shetland or a Perrindale, well, something that's got a bit more crimp in it, so it's a bit more voluminous, it's got more bounce in it. I always found that those fibres won't allow me to put as much on there as I'd like. If I was using something really fine like a Wensleydale, a Teeswater, a Merino, even a Rambouillet, those fibres I could get quite a lot onto my blending board because the fibres are so straight and aligned and there's not a lot of crimp in them, that I could get a lot more onto my blending board. So my blending board would probably average between 45 to maybe nearer 60 on different mixed fibres that I could get on those boards. But you don't have to use merino, you can use all sorts of different fibres. You can use these blending boards for blending up your natural fibres that you haven't dyed, that you've just got in your stash, or you bought little kits and everything else for, from like sample sets and things like that, and then mix them with different silks just to give a little bit depth, a little bit of like pizzazz in your wool that you're knitting, or if you're using it for crochet or something like that, so you've got a really gorgeous natural fibre, but just little hints and tints of different colours and things in there. So what have I got today? Oh, and there's another thing as well that I always think about when I'm blending. I think about what the outside of the roll lag, the bit that everyone can see, what it's going to look like. So any definitions that I want, like highlights, like this tiny merino glitz, I'll put on top, I'll layer them on top. And what else have I got in here? There we go. I have got some mulberry silk, so I'll try and layer at least half of that on my first layer first, and then the rest of it I will put through the roll lag or the blending board as my layers go through, just to make sure that you can see straight away that you've got highlights and tones in there and different types of fibres being used, before you have to go all the way through the process of seeing the roll lag, because sometimes the magic's just sitting inside and you want to show off that you have got lots of different shiny textures in there, as well as the item that somebody can first see. And that could be the difference between your friend in the next stall selling our items to you selling your items, because yours have that little bit more of a wow factor. So I've got like my defining colours in here. So what I'll do when I'm blending these through, I will make sure that, as I say, my highlight colours, my add-ins are all at least on the first layer, and then whatever's left over I will add towards the end. And these ones here, they will be my second layer, and then onwards. What else have I got? And I've got some nice lime green, and I have got this Tussie Silk, Mulberry Silk and Viscose blend as well. So those are the ones that I want to try and make sure I put on first. And I've got some lovely eggshell just for a little bit of neutralisation on there. So I'm going to turn you around and show how I do my blending board, and if you like this, I'm quite happy to do them more often. I'll do roll lags now and again, and I might do a roll lag to spinning just so you can see the difference between spinning out a roll lag properly compared to the lumpy part of it. And sometimes that's all it takes, just to learn how to use that technique. So my teeth are pointing down towards me, and I've just remembered I need my comb and my little tool. Just clean that off. Just put it over there. Oh, I'm hitting everything today. I've just been moving my studio around and having a good tidy up and bringing in some more storage, and I forgot I've got a unit underneath my knees. Right, so I'll just move my cup out of the way. So I'm going to use this one first, this eggshell colour, and you want to just hold on to it gently. Hold on a minute. Oh, I've done it the wrong way around. The board is the wrong way around. There we go, reorganise myself. Right, so my teeth are going in that direction, so I need to make sure that my teeth are going in the opposite direction to what I need for them to grip. So you just want to hold it there where it just catches and bring that down. And I'm just putting a skim coat on because I know that I'm going to put on some really fine silks to start next. And I need to make sure that when I'm drafting, my fibres are going to grab a hold of those shiny silks, the ones that have no crimping, and just stick to the top of this board. And then I get my card. Now these are going in the opposite direction, and I just want to pack them down. And I know a lot of people use paintbrushes or hairbrushes. I personally just don't seem to get on with that sort of technique, so I don't really use them. So I'm just getting my fibres and I'm just going to randomly brush them down onto my board. I'm going to use a bit of this gorgeous tangerine. Some of that, and take a piece of this off here because there's too much on that, and then a bit more of this mustard glitz, a bit there and a bit there, and then I've got some of this teal, and that's clumped up a bit too much for my liking, so I'm just grabbing that because it's not quite on there yet. And you want to make sure that when you're rolling it, all these fibres are all going to be on practically every roll lag that you've got or that you're going to blend. So just push them down, pack it in. There we go. So that's my first stage. So next I want to use some of this Tweedy Viscose. Now I'm sure Tweedy Viscose is a mixture of, I think it's a nettle and bamboo type fibre, and that's where these nappy bits come in. I'll have to double check, but I'm sure that's what the description is from my suppliers. So I'm just going to run them all the way through. Make sure it catches at the top, otherwise we'll end up with a bald bum. So next I'm going to get my parent dough. So I want these in a tonal range. I don't want them just willy-nilly all over the board. I generally want them all overlapping each other in a colour. Hold on a minute, I've got an olive over here as well. I'll just break this into what I need. So a bit of green, a bit of blue and a bit of grey. I'm just going to open up the fibres a little bit because it's such a fluffy, flighty fibre. So I'm going to again pin that down and drag it. You want your tines to catch your fibres. If you've come across any clumpy bits, just pick them off. It's all right, don't worry about it. It's easy enough just to take them off. Take a bit more. Right, so next piece I want blue, but I want to make sure that it lays over the top of the grey, so you've got continuity in your blend. You will end up with defined lines at some point of colour, but you still want to make sure that the crossover point between the colours are nice and blended in, and it helps keep the roll lag in one piece when you come to take it off and work with it later. So next is my lovely olive. It's actually an olive green. It looks lime green here, but it's not, it is olive. So I'm just going to scrape that along there, along on top of this blue. Such a fluffy wool to work with, this Perendale. And just keep dragging it while the fibres all catch. And I'm going to pack this in a second again. And try and make sure you get your tops, because it's quite easy to forget your top section of your board. And just look for any bits that might look like they've not got much fibre, and just put them in there. Okay, get my card in again and go in the opposite direction to the teeth. Right, so I'm going to add a bit more grey because I can still see the blender board coming through there. So I'm just going to add a little bit more and then blend it, as I say, over the top of that blue. A little bit more, especially at this top section here. And on my edges. And give that another card in. There we go. Right, so now I'm going to add a bit more highlight. So I'm going to use these colours again. Get some on there. And it doesn't matter if you go in a single direction when it comes to adding these little bits. As long as they're attached to the teeth, they'll all roll together anyway. And some more of this sparkle. Just find some bold sections. And then I've got my yellow to go on. So I'm just going to run that through. And I've got some, I think, lime green somewhere as well to do in a sec. Yep, I've got a little bit of lime green here. So I'll start on the grey on there. There we go. And I'm going to get my card again. There we go. Add a little bit more of this viscose. A bit more of this eggshell on the sections where the viscose hasn't quite caught, just so I've got a nice even balance of fibres on the teeth, and I've got no sections that I've hardly got any fibres, because that's just edging your bets that your roll lags are going to fall apart afterwards. So a little bit more yellow. and then one more carding through. Pack that into the tines on your carding cloth. And then we have it. So the next bit is to get your diz. Now, what have I used in the past for my dizzies? I have in the past used shells off the beach with holes inside them. I've used hagstones that I found off the beach as well with holes inside them. You know, the magical, mystical ones that you find on the beach and there's no reason why this pebble's got a giant big hole in the middle. I've used things like that. I've used washers, DIY out of my toolbox. I've used bolts as well. So there's all sorts of things. Some people use just a cross section of a piece of white PVC piping and then just drill a hole in the middle of that, and there you go, you've got a diz. You don't need to go and buy any fancy handcraft items. I just wanted this one and that's it. But I have used alternative contraptions in the past. So you want to get your diz. I'm going to use my largest hole for this. Or shall I go for the next? Shall I go for the second one? Right, okay, I'll go for the second one. So I'm just going to pull some of these fibres, twist them around so that I can feed it into, and I'm doing it so the curved section is in my hand. So I'm just going to try and feed this bit of fluff. Do you know, the day that you need a crochet hook, you've not brought it upstairs with you, have you? I find crochet hooks everywhere. I've seen about 20 gazillion today when I've been tidying up. And I'll just try and get this there we go. It's through. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is hold that in my hand and I'm going to pull the fibres and push the diz up the board. And by doing this, you're actually creating a mini roving for fibres. And so if you're drafting it out later on, you've now given yourself fibres that you can spin straight from. They've all been pre-blended. See? Look at that. So I'm just going to pull that over there. And it'll get to a point when it'll just want to come out like that, and then you end up with it more or less pre-drafted. It's all blended in for you, and you create these lovely little nests. So I'll go back to the beginning again. Get myself a bit of fibre that actually wants to come with me. Try and get that in there. Come on. There we go. So again, I'm gonna drag. And you can go work it along the side, down the bottom as well. You don't have to do it up in a straight line. You can drag it and it will catch the fibres next door to itself. So you just go along in a repeated line. And then do the same again on this side. and just keep going. You'll find your technique and your rhythm as you're going along. I'm literally pulling and pushing up, so that the fibres will pull on each other and invite the next side along to join in this little roving. There we go. So I've got this little pile going on here, so I'm just going to roll it up in my hand. Keep going, and I'm just going to stick that down there on the side so it's out of my way and it doesn't keep catching on the teeth. See if I can find my rhythm again. Oh. There you go. So there you have it, a little nest of roving, pre-drafted roving from your blending board. And it's really as simple as that. It's just about getting yourself a technique. I mean, you could straight from there braid it up so it sits out the way. Just find my center point on that one and just gently braid that. That's it, and you can just stick that away in your basket or your project bag. There you go. There you go. You have a lovely braid of fibres, pre-drafted, or you can put it in a little nest. I like nests, but I like rovings as well. And off you go spinning, or even with your drop spindle. I mean, that's probably the best thing for this sort of item, is when you drop spindling as well, or you have a kick spindle or a turkey spindle, and then you've got your already pre-drafted little nests of fibre. So there you go, that's how you use your blended board. I will do another one with my drum card, and my drum card needs a little bit of a service and a clean up because I've been really busy this week. So I will do another video in a couple of days doing the exact same thing from the back of the drum card, and then just so you can see exactly how it's done, at least put this video into two parts. So as I say, I will leave a link to Les Smith's website in my descriptions, or you can go find him on Facebook as well. If he's not got anything in stock and there's something on there that you actually really like or would like to order, just give him a nudge. It doesn't cost anything extra to do that, just a little bit of time of reaching out. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. Please appreciate it if you could just hit that thumbs up below. It just helps the algorithms and people be able to find me, because if those buttons don't get found, I just sit in the background and nobody can get these little tips and tricks of how I create my fibres. So you take care of yourself. I'll be putting the Batty Club video up not tomorrow. I'm at a wedding tomorrow, so I might be doing that on Saturday, and then I've got my Saturday Instagram live chat. So I'll probably be a bit hungover, a bit tired, a bit knackered, and not quite with it on Saturday. So you take care of yourselves, and I will see you through the week. Bye.